What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what really moved it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi went down 0.19%, 26.40 the high, 25.77 the low. So it did trade within a set range. So I'll go over that near the end of the video. But we did see rather low volume, so about 37 million shares being traded. When it came down to it, we did have kind of two data points. First thing, durable goods, which came in at 5.3, forecast of 1.1. So definitely good stuff for that. Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index came in at negative 1.2. So kind of shows that there's contraction still occurring, but a lot better than what the previous was, which came in at negative 11.3. So that, in my opinion, came out, but it didn't really influence the broader market. So initially, we came into this week very fearful about two things. One is Canada getting hit with a 100% tariff, and that was stated by Trump over the weekend. And second was a potential shutdown. So as the day did pass, that fear about a shutdown escalated because White House came forward, and all because of that Minnesota scenario, or I guess numerous scenarios, that is really causing a massive divide. So it is fair to assume, I think it's now 85% likelihood of a shutdown. So the market was starting to kind of realize that and kind of think about what that might mean. In my opinion, last time we had a shutdown, there was a lot of fear, a lot of chatter that we were just going to sell off, but we pretty much recovered halfway throughout the day and we kind of moved higher. So again, not saying history is going to repeat itself, but if we do have another shutdown, it might be just a good opportunity to buy the dip. And then when it came down to the Canada side of it, first thing we did have this that came out. So in case you missed it, Trump did say that if Canada follows through with their deal with China, they're going to be hit with a 100% tariff. And so Canada did drop their free trade deal with China. So that fear kind of subsided straight away. So I think that was the logical thing that was going to occur. But nonetheless, right now the market is fearful still over the shutdown. And oddly enough, over the day, we did have a couple things about tariffs. So of course we all already love the word tariff, but it looks like South Korea is getting hit on some kind of things with increasing from 15 to 25% on auto, lumber, pharma, and other reciprocal tariffs. So definitely interesting kind of scenario that is playing out. So I don't know if this is another Greenland and Canada type of scenario that the threat is placed and then expect the other country to back down and then Trump just backs away. I don't know if that's going to be another scenario, but definitely did spook some institutions. So I'll go over that in a second. But specific to SoFi, there was no news, no SEC filings. SoFi Insider did post this on Twitter. So ticker is SOFID. So this seems to be their stablecoin. So this is the first look at that. And so yeah, that's pretty huge stuff if you think about it. So definitely that's going to be something that they can talk about in their upcoming earnings at the end of this week. Very poor timing, I guess, on their earnings, but they couldn't really control that, I guess, in reality. So hopefully the shutdown does kind of rectify and there isn't any of that, and SoFi can just freely move up without any constraints. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see. Regarding shorts, they did return 254,000 shares. So I always like to analyze this because there is a lot of available shares to short. And if they really did feel like today was justified of a red day, they could easily double and triple down. But the fact that they didn't, I see that as relatively optimistic. 9.36% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 116 million shares overall being shorted. Still see some signs of naked shorting, so more shares are being shorted than on loan. DTC being at 2 days does really signal that shorts are overextended. Although, to play devil's advocate, SoFi has been experiencing lower volume, so that is probably why it's been kind of moving up. So shorts haven't really been doubling down, I guess. Shorts, mind you, are overextended, but it's just the lower volume that's causing this number to kind of move higher. There was one new analyst rating. They didn't give a price target, just a general hold. That was done by Seaport, and so I was unable to find their report on that. So most likely in the next day or so, once it actually does get posted, then I'll kind of share that with you. Looking at the options, 22 million in calls, 7.8 in puts, and then 43% of all the options being done today were bullish in nature. And as I've mentioned in the past, I look at a lot of different stocks throughout the day, and one common scenario is that there was a lot of bearishness being done through the options. In SoFi's case, that's kind of a good thing to see some level of bullishness. So again, something to kind of keep in mind. The expected move also did drop to 7.18%, and that is post earnings. So roughly $1.85 in either direction is anticipated. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to still be kind of between that 28 to 28.50 by the end of this week. A little bit lower from the optimism, but bears are anticipating for it to be kind of between that $23 to $24 range. So again, it does meet that criteria of within that 7.18%. So something to keep in mind. On the secondary market, you did have a lot of institutions selling, especially near the end of the day, and that is where SoFi did go down right over here. So all the tariff talk, shutdown talk, that clearly did spook a lot of institutions. So some big ones that were sells were 53.9, 8.6. That one right here, that 7.5 was a buy. And then we had 5.1 and so forth and so forth. Aside from that, these are some of the transactions that did occur on the dark pool above $100,000. And given the fact that shorts were somewhat active, it is fair to assume that a lot of this was linked to them. Aside from that, with it closing at 25.80, smack dab in the middle between this R1 and the pivot. So like I said, it kind of touched both this R1 and the pivot, so kind of traded within that range. So 26.28 we know is a pretty strong resistance point, and then 25.73 is kind of that next strong support. It bounced off of that general range, but still that's going to be a key level to really watch for tomorrow. Aside from all that fun stuff, and getting back to the chart, you can kind of see that algorithmic trading was making up for a good chunk of the volume as well. Again, through Moomoo, they actually do allow you to look at a lot of the reports, but it looks like the one that was done today wasn't actually posted yet. So once it is, I'll be able to look at the report. But on the actual chart itself, as I mentioned in my weekend video, it doesn't look that great. It kind of does signal that there's some consolidation. I wouldn't really consider today being the end all be all, meaning that we're going to go down. There's still a lot of big things coming out this week that could easily push SoFi and the broader market higher. A lot of big companies putting out their earnings. We also have the Fed interest rate decision, and depending on how Powell comes out, that could really give some optimism in the broader market. And you never know, if the shutdown does somehow avoid or gets avoided or whatever, then you never know. You could see a nice push and a recovery because of that at the same time. But still, one thing that SoFi really does need to get above in at least the short term, the next couple of trading days, is going to be that 10-day moving average. Last time it closed above that was on January the 9th. So since then, it's been losing kind of a lot of volume and plus just a lot of momentum. So the only positive thing, to be fully honest about this, is stochastic RSI. It's very oversold. So that's kind of a good thing, a good piece of news to come out. You could see a nice push higher, but looking at the market position, you see not that much in willing buyers. So it looks like a lot of big money, as of what I mentioned again on my weekend video, is just waiting. They are waiting, and all this tariff talk, I don't think that really helps anyone. A lot of institutions are probably just saying, yeah, enough of this. This is giving a lot of April 2025 type of vibes. And we all generally knew, or kind of how that all played out, where SoFi did hit $8.60 during that sell-off. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Are you buying? Are you selling? Do you think that there is legitimate fear in the broader market, or do you think it's just all going to kind of just short-term noise? What's your kind of general thoughts on all that? One final thing, if you're looking for some solid buy signals, pop over to my Patreon and put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.